going on, everybody? This is Justin from Ahhh For Real podcast with our special edition with sports, music, and other ish. So we're going to jump back into it with part two. We're talking about how you guys were in school, how you determined to come to the criminal justice part of your career. Let's kind of pick up after college and how you guys got into that career.
I mean, pretty much after college, man, it was just trying to find somewhere to work. Like we had ended up working at Walmart. We both had been working at Walmart in Waco, and we transferred to a store in San Marcos. And they had a manager there, Terry Yancey, and he just pretty much took us up under his wings, man, and put us in the management program. And we both ended up becoming assistant managers for Walmart. At the whole time when we was doing that, we were still doing music. Like we were still doing, we had TDT, and then we ended up moving over to doing The Fix, thefix.com, and start working like that. But that's pretty much what happened in us moving into the criminal justice field. I think John got hired in the criminal justice field before I did, and then I ended up getting on later.
Yeah, we both worked at Walmart. We was in that management training program, and Terry Yancey, great guy, rest his soul, man. He's definitely one guy who had a major influence on me. But we worked as managers at Walmart for a little bit, and then I decided I wanted to go back to school. I mean, who would have ever thought that? I wanted to go back to school to get a master's degree, but I couldn't do it with the hours that I was working at Walmart. So then I ended up getting hired. Getting hired in the criminal justice field, and I worked there for about 7-8 years. And then, like Vic said, this whole time though, I mean, we came up with The Fix. We had thefix.com with our boy B. Hobbs. We also had The Fix magazine, both nominated for a Southern Entertainment Award. Then we ended up doing our own concerts and stuff. I'm sure we're gonna talk about it later. But so that happened. I worked at criminal justice field for that long, and we also did The Fix and concerts and everything. And then I decided that, man, I just wanted to change, man. Like I didn't want to work there anymore, even though I had a sweet gig. I worked directly with district judges and everything. And it's crazy because Vic did the same shit. It's so funny that like all our stuff kind of runs together. But so after a while, I wanted to leave. I always wanted to work in sports, and so I talked to my cousin Mike Harris, who went pro, and he was like, "Well, why don't you be an agent?" And I was like, "Yeah, right, man. Like, that probably take a whole bunch of jumping through hoops and everything like that." So I looked it up, and it wasn't as excruciating as I thought it was gonna be. So needless to say, I did all my research, got all my stuff together, figured it out, and I ended up leaving the criminal justice field to go be an agent, man. And it's been an ongoing process, to say the least,
Well, before we get there, let's go ahead and let's talk about when you guys were in college or working at Walmart and doing the music. Let's kind of focus on that for a minute.
The music was great. I actually missed the music so much right now, and I never thought I would ever miss it. I never thought, because when you in it, you don't realize what you're doing. Like you blazing a path, man. The whole music thing, it all started with the music, man. Shout out to Vic and Luck for being the artists that they are, and then later on we ended up picking up Jay Ash, who was R&B sensation, and so we had these and me and B Hobbs are more like managers, so you can only imagine how this whole thing came together. And so basically, man, Luck and Vic would be dropping some of the dopest shit I had heard, and I was like, damn, I'm a fan, you know, like y'all boys got something, you know. And coming from Hillsboro, man, you had South Mob, you had a lot of other groups out there that did their thing, so it was kind of all falling into that same thing. But only thing is we wasn't at home no more. We was away from home, so access was different. We man, so we realized that to start a group and be able to get in the studio and to be able to afford all this, like, you really had to have some cash. According to Wendy Day back then, it was $350,000 to start your career, to get you to do it independently. And we had nowhere near that. We probably had zero. So we ended up, after sitting down talking, you know, Luck kind of pretty much brought it all together. You know, it was kind of his idea, because I don't even know at this date I still would have been like, hey, let me manage y'all. You know, let us do it. You know, we was all hanging out, me, Vic, Luck, B Hobbs, when it all really came together, and then Jay Ash was there too. Cause we, you know, me, Jay Ash, and Vic, we all in the same fraternity. That's kind of how we met Jay Ash. So they just wanted to do music and not have to worry about all this other stuff. So that's when me and B Hobbs came into play. So knowing that we didn't have those outlets, man, my favorite album of all time is Scarface, the Fix, right? So that was kind of inspiration behind it. We spell it differently and all that good stuff. But it was one of my favorite. I think that song with T-Boz on there is like the coolest song. T-Boz now is the coolest song ever. Don't nobody at me on that, because it's not for debate. But so we realized we didn't have outlet. So basically what we did was we created our own outlet, man. We created The Fix, thefix.com, The Fix magazine. And basically how that works is that we started at the bottom, man. We started at the bottom. Nobody really knew. I mean, but doing those two things gave us access to people. And one thing that I've always known, I've known, is that when you have access to people that you can network with, you can come up, you can get just about anything you want. And me, I never had a problem going in a room full of people, I ain't know nobody, and coming out knowing half the people in the room, if not all of them. Phone numbers, contact, database, all that. It didn't matter. You know, even if it felt like you really didn't want to talk to me, I was still trying to talk to you. And I think that's one thing that they saw, and they were like, yo, we want you to, be a part of this. So so basically the magazine just, it all had the same wave though. It was independent. It was independent rappers. We was doing album reviews. We was doing all this stuff. Same thing with the blog site. It was independent music on there. Got to a point where we had that, so we needed to figure out how to get on shows, and we wasn't about to be paying to get on shows. I will say this: we did have a lot of bumps in the road. We did some questionable things, and I don't want to bring them up because I know Big gonna be like, I told you I was right. But so we ended up. Shout out to Mike for believing in us as well. He put a lot of money behind us. We went out there. We started creating our own concepts. Now, this was the funnest shit ever to me, because to see it from ground zero to go to having a couple of thousand people or 5,000 people inside in a venue or outdoor facility is insane. It almost makes you nervous that something's going to happen. Something's really going to happen, and they're going to shut us down, and we're going to go to jail, and all that stuff. But we did that. We did that for a while, man, and we even started doing our own South by Southwest shows. And somewhere along the way, we started having official South by Southwest shows, and then you know, I started gravitating more to sports. Vic started gravitating more toward his thing, his herbs and everything, his business. And Hobbs is even now, he's the booking director for all the music in South by. So it all kind of materialized from music, man. Everything materialized from music, and it's been a hell of a journey. And I think that if you would have told me that we were going to be able to do it like that at a high level, I would have been like, no, because we really have a place in the hip hop culture of the state of Texas for that time and for that moment in time. And I'm not sitting here taking credit for everything as far as the fix goes and where we at in that place, but we do have a snippet in time, a moment in time for Texas hip hop history, man. And we do, like I said, we did a lot of great things. So I mean, Vic, if you got something you want to add to that, I mean.
Nah, I mean, I think you summed it up. It just, the crazy thing is that John, we'll have conversations about this. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that I remember, man, it was just a great time, having fun, doing music, you know, writing about music, you know, reviewing albums, you know, putting on shows. My thing was like, I was always like the stage manager. I didn't want to really deal with, you know, artists, their needs and all that stuff, like the backstage stuff. Like I wanted to be on the stage, getting artists on, I'll make sure the setup was right. And, you know, it was just the fun and excitement of it. But, you know, in my mind, I didn't realize it was like, okay, yeah, we did it. That was cool. We had kind of moved on, but it wasn't until John like started sending me pictures and videos. Like he found the archive of all our stuff like that we did. And man, I was just going through it and realizing like, man, like we did a lot. Like for where we was at, like in college, you know what I'm saying, with our own money, you know, and then getting back my mic and stuff like that. Like, man, we did a lot. Like we did a lot of stuff. I mean, for our age group, from where we come from and not having, you know, knowing the business side of everything, to learn all that stuff on the fly, to put these shows on, to have an official South by Southwest show, you know, to giving artists this opportunity to perform at these shows and having impact from meeting, you know, big time artists and stuff like that. Like, man, we did a lot. And it was just a fun time, man. It was really exciting. It was really fun. It was tiresome at times, but when you got to the shows, man, it was like everything paid off. Everything was great. You know what I mean? Like the music pretty much brought it all together. And that's why, you know, our love for music it's crazy. Like it's just up there. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the top things. It's just starting from being with the mob, South Mob, all the way to, you know, to the fix. Like I've been a part of music, you know what I'm saying, since I was, you know, 16, 17, you know, up until I was like 30, you know, 32, 33, 34, dealing with music. So it was just like that whole time, my life was just filled with music, you know what I mean? And to get on that level where we was doing the online magazine, you know, before people was doing online magazines, you know what I mean? Like I would go back and read these magazines now and be like, damn, like really writing articles and writing reviews, like, you know what I'm saying? Like young Elliot Wilson's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? From Hillsborough, like we was really doing that shit. But at the time, like, you know, people be like, man, y'all boys do, but you didn't pay attention to it. It's like, it became kind of like normal. You know what I'm saying? It was like, we was in it. It was just like we was having fun, but that we was doing something and didn't realize how big of an impact or what we was doing at that time. And now you sit back and you look at it and you be like, damn, like we've done a lot of stuff to be, you know, at this age right now, the things that we did. And I just, you know, it's unbelievable.
So let me just add on there just a little bit. So like when I was in college, one of my projects was I created a magazine, like an actual magazine. That was my project. And then to move forward and actually do that in an online manner, because that's where everybody was at. We was online with it. To do it in an online manner. And I will say our magazine was dope because it was one of the first magazines where you could roll the cursor over it and the page just fluttered. You could actually flip the pages like a book. It wasn't that slideshow PDF type thing where you just hit the arrow and it just go across. So that was unique in itself. And then the blog site, man, and B Hobbs did a lot of work on that. The blog site was crazy, and it just added to everything. We weren't even thinking blog site. We was thinking magazine, and we was gonna see whatever else came out of that.
Yeah.
But then, I was like, well, we should do a blog site. I've been wanting to do one. You mind if we do one in conjunction? I was like, nah, man, we boys, let's do it. But I was telling Vic the other day, I've been asking for these damn files and calling everybody, hey man, you got this, you got that. And I ended up being the one to have it at my mama's house. I opened it up the other day, man, and it really just made me realize that for what we did and how we did it, it was a different thing. We worked with a lot of other dope people, like, we worked with Big Sid, shout out Big Sid. I mean, Big Sid had his thing out in West Texas. He was doing this thing out there, and he would come in from time to time, and we would do shows out here together. He would do his own things, and then there was Scoremore. Well, that was the thing. There was Scoremore, us, and Big Sid. Outside of that, it really wasn't. I mean, I'm sure other people were doing shows, but outside of that, it wasn't. It wasn't a lot of other stuff. And so for what we did, with what we had, it's a crazy feeling. It's a crazy feeling. I mean, we got all the way up to doing an outdoor festival with stage smoke and lights and all the stuff you see at the big shows. We ain't had nobody come through the floor like a Jay-Z show or nothing like that, but we had the lights. We ain't had no tilting stage, but we had the lights, the smoke. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And so for us to be able to do that, man, and help be a footnote in the culture of Texas hip hop and everything Texas is for me, it's a huge accomplishment. And I think that's where this podcast picks up at.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I liked about it is like there was no outlet, so we created an outlet. You know what I mean? From the magazine, Hobbs' idea of having an online blog site, and you can put your music on the blog site. So now, when we were doing the music, we can put it on the blog site. We could be in the magazine, and we can open up at a show. You know what I'm saying? So everything was like in-house, and this is with no dope money. Unheard of this time.
No dope money.
This is like hard-earned. We all worked at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get our checks from Walmart, like, hey, how much is it going to cost? We all splitting it up. You know what I'm saying? 4 or 5 people split it up. This is how we going to pay for it. Broken times, eating ramen noodles, didn't have nothing, but like, we was doing something that we all loved and we had passion about, and we came together and created something that, I think to this day when people see that fixed brand, like they know, like, man, somebody gonna have a story about it. Man, I remember I was at that show or we performed there, or those guys right there was doing this, that, and other. So, man, it was definitely, it's led up to this podcast, like that stuff. And now I think that just built us up to start this podcast to be able to take it another step further.
Yeah, and the other thing too, man, you gotta look at this. I remember I told somebody, hey, we do concerts. They said, oh, y'all promoters. No. Absolutely not. I'm not a promoter. Don't call me a fucking promoter. No offense to promoters, man. Shout out to all the promoters out there. But we more than promoters, man, because we pick the artist, the venue, pay for the artist, pay for the venue, pay for all the promotions, and we promoted the shit ourselves. That's unheard of, man. A lot of people ain't doing it like that. That's from the ground up. And a lot of people probably don't even know that. So we went from looking to pay people or not wanting to pay people to get on concerts, to get our content out, to having people pay us to get their content out. That's how you flip the game, man. And I always got a lot of fucking ideas. And I always be like, Vic, we should do this. He'd be like, well, man, what about this? What about? I'm like, damn, all right, cuz I call you back like, you know what I'm saying? Or he'll hit me and I'll be like, well, shit, I don't know, man. That shit I don't know, because we always want our idea to be the most prominent idea. But at the end of the day, if it works, it works. And one thing I want to tell everybody, I want everybody to know that never in this time that we did any of this was it a dictatorship. It was always, we would vote. Whatever had the most votes, that's what we did. Except that one night, I decided that we all decided we was gonna still do the Slim Thug show, and it just really wasn't what we should have did. It was after we did a 2 Chainz show that was like through the roof. Somebody got murdered or shot there in San Antonio. And honestly, he got shot. We had the absolute most security we could actually have. I mean, the whole SAPD was out there, and the dude still got shot. So, but that 2 Chainz show was epic by proportion. We did it with Players Choice, which was big said at the time. So it was insane. So right off of that, we was gonna do. We got to the point we was booking our shows back to back. So we was already planning the Slim Thug show at that same venue, but we couldn't do it at the same venue because the dude got shot there, and they was trying to shut it down, and all other kind of reasons too. They was trying to make the venue a strip club, and all. It was just weird, man. Club went through new management, and so not being the fighters that we are, we were like, we can still pull it off. So we ended up moving the show all the way across town to the backstage. RIP to Pete, man, good dude. We moved it over there to the backstage. Pete gave us a good deal. We was able to get in there. But we didn't keep the show the same. We added 0 to the show. And so then after that made the price go up. But we was getting a lot of backlash because we had to move the show, so people thought it was a fraud. Even though we had a good reputation, people still thought it was a fraud. And, it wasn't a good move, man. But we survived it, man. I mean, even to this day, I'm thinking of ways we can get back into doing shows. Especially with me doing the sports now, you got a little more access to different types of people who doing different types of things. So, and with Hobbs still being in music. So I'm trying to figure out how we can get back in at a decent level and try to figure out if it works. But, I'm always trying to get the band back together, man. That's just who I am, man. I love my guys, man, and we did a lot of great things, and our success builds off each other, man. So, but yeah, man, just think about that 1 minute JLD. We flipped the game on them. We went from paying or not wanting to pay to having people pay to be on our concerts and put this stuff on our website, put this stuff in that magazine. I'm sure somebody else out there did it because I'm a firm believer in if there ain't nothing that I'm doing or we doing that ain't nobody else doing. I could be wrong though. I know I'm wrong. I'm just being modest, man. If you don't know, I'm the shit talker of the group. I like to talk a lot of shit, and that's just who I am, man. Put me in front of the camera, I just start talking.
That's sports music and other ish.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's the single? I know what my favorite show that you guys threw. Actually, let me have a tell you. The most fun I ever had at a show, and I'm not even a fan of this group, but it was the Travis Porter show.
Oh.
I had more, and maybe it was the situation you guys put me in, but I had more fun at that show than I might have ever had in my life.
Was that the Texas Music Theater?
That was at Texas State.
Oh yeah, man, that was a good show. That's when we first started working with Big Nietzsche and them. Shout out Big Nietzsche and whatever their crew was called, man. I don't remember, but there was some.
I finally understood why people would attend Texas State University after that show.
Texas State was a cool place.
We partied at Texas State. That's
lots of parties at Texas State.
Man. I would have to say, man, my favorite show was definitely the 2 Chainz show.
Oh man, that was great.
It was right when 2 Chainz, I think we had booked them, and then later he had signed with good music, and so his price went up by like $60,000, $70,000, and we had got him, and like we already knew, like we just gotta make sure he make it to the venue, and this is a wrap. And I mean, we had David Stunts out there. He was filming the whole thing, and man, you would go outside and you look at the line, man, the line stretched, halfway around the block and around the corner. And it was just a great atmosphere. It was fun. Everything was great right up until, the show was over. Once the show was over, I feel like we did our job. We was done. What happened outside the club after that, it was definitely a tragedy. The guy did survive from my understanding. But that had nothing to do with the show. That was something that happened after. But from the time the show started, from the picking up 2 Chainz from the, we having them picked up from the airport or whatever, until that last song, man, like it was by far, like it was just a great time. It was definitely like just a great time.
Yeah, that 2 Chainz show it's definitely up there. Because that was the show that pretty much was like, damn, they did that. But I don't know if that show, because what was that year at South by, we had a show too, and that was the show. Wasn't that the show with Kevin Gates? And we had Kevin Gates fresh out of jail. I'm gonna drop the
on that show.
Huh?
Did y'all have Starlito on that show?
Was that the one Starlito was at?
I don't know.
I know we had
Trinidad James.
Wiz and Amber showed up.
Wiz was there, yeah. We had all them Smoker Club dudes.
Yes, that's right. The Smoke Dizza, the Young Spitter,
High Dollar Sign.
Yeah,
of course we had our Texas guys, Killer Calleon.
Doe
Beezy was on that show, right?
Yeah, Doe Beezy was there.
That was really a good show because of the variety of artists that we had on that show. I mean, I remember Trinidad James rocking it. I mean, just to have Kevin Gates show up in his jail slippers. He still fresh out of jail had the jail slippers on, man. So he flew in from somewhere else and said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna rock like this." Came in there, did a drop for us, and they're just real good dude, man. But those are my top 2. The 2 Chainz show was crazy because we done reached a different type of level, because now we got celebrities showing up to the show, like Stack 5, San Antonio Spurs at the time, pulled up in the back, and the Phantom. I ain't ever seen the Phantom up that close. The Phantom took up the whole back, like the whole back. And not just him, it was him. We had a bunch of other Spurs in the building. I mean, man, we really did that. Like I say, us and Players Choice, we really went out there and we really did that. And that was definitely an epic moment. Even though Texas Spring Fest didn't really go like we thought it was, that was a monumental moment for us as well, because we built a stage from scratch. We built a stage. All this stage was a piece of concrete and a piece of metal, and it was a big old field. So at this show, we had vendors. We had several vendors at the show. We had the VIP tent. We had all this going on. The stage had all the screens in the back, so it was playing different stuff with different artists on. They had brought whatever they wanted to put on in the backdrop. It was great, man. My boy T. Will from the Dallas Cowboys showed up, brought some Cowboys out with him. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was bullshitting me on the text, talking about this is T. Will. I'm like, man, this dude get my number, man. I don't know T. Will. And then so we chopped it up. He was good. He was cool, man. He was a cool guy. Like, they came out. He didn't want no special treatment or nothing. He just wanted to be a regular person out there, chilling out. He brought several Dallas Cowboys with him. And the scenes from that, I don't know if Vic remember, but when them party buses was rolling up with all them people in and dudes was jumping out the back of the party bus through the fire exit with liquor in their hands. Like, I'm like, man, this crazy, man. And I was scared. I was scared the entire night because, first of all, we had a little less security than we really needed because we had to go through a whole bunch of hoops because we were these guys trying to have this concert, this hip hop concert in this rural area. And let's just say they didn't want us out there. So we couldn't use their off duty PD, even though we was paying them double. We couldn't use them. Like, it was just a lot of stuff to go on. But even to get that off the ground like that, man, that was monumental, man. And those are my top 3 favorite shows that we had. And then we had a bunch of other experiences, man, that we ain't even got time to talk about. But those are the ones, man.
Right, that's a lot of good stuff there. I guess that kind of brings us up to date. Tell me about the transition from, I guess, the entertainment into present day, I guess, where you guys are now.
Just podcast, man, it just bringing all of those experiences back, and then knowing that we have the experience and able to have a voice. We both have a voice in our own different significant way. We both have our own opinions. So it's just, people always tell us like, man, y'all should do something with y'all's voice. Y'all should, speak out about things and say things and do things. And so that's kind of where we at, man. It was just like, it was an idea that John shot at me a while back, man. And it was just like, all right, cool, let's do it. But at the time I was doing a podcast, a cigar podcast. And then John, he was flying in and out of the country. So we just didn't have the time to do it. And then all of a sudden, COVID-19 hit and we both sitting at home and, we had already had the logo made,
The logo been made for a year, man.
For a year. And then COVID-19 hit and John was just like, bro, let's off. And I was like, shit, I ain't doing nothing. I mean, of course, Thoroughly Fit is the company that I have, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing that. But at the same time, it's like, shit, like I can do that and work and do this at the same time. Let's make it happen. And so shit, we just, we got on Zoom one day, called up Mike, like, hey, Mike, you know what I'm saying? Let's tell your story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you haven't had a chance to tell your story. He just came back from overseas winning the championship. And he was at home and everybody was at home. And it was the first time like this has happened. Like, we've all been at home, you know what I'm saying, where you can't move around. So like, we all at home. Like, let's make it happen. And it just happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where we want to, we got opinions like everybody else got opinions. Why is Stephen A. opinion better than my opinion? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I may not have the journalism credentials of Stephen A. or somebody like that, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna give my opinion. It may not be what everybody like or what everybody think, but I guarantee my opinion is gonna be an opinion that a lot of people probably is like, damn, I didn't think about that. Or, man, dude got a point.
Yeah. So like, it's just like, now it's just like this. We got all this experience, all these connections for the both of us, right? And this is what brings it all together. I've always wanted to have my whole life centered around sports, music, and other shit, right? Like I believe that 99% of shit in your life don't even matter. It's that 1%. If you can maximize that 1%, you'll live like a king the rest of your life. And I really do believe that. Like, I don't care what nobody else thinks. I believe that. That's all that matters. That's my 1%. So basically, man, tying all this together with this podcast is a great deal, man. And this podcast is gonna get better and better and better and better until we get to the point and we like, damn, it's something else that we just add to our resume. And like Vic said, like, this is the first time that we've all been at home at the same time. There's a lot of people at home right now, so we gotta take advantage of that. So and it was a great time to drop it. I think everything comes with timing. Even though I used to get mad when I used to call him and like, yo, man, let's make some time. Oh man, I got this. Or he'll hit me and I'll be like, man, I got this going on today. I ain't gonna be up. And I'm sure he was frustrated. So, at the end of the day, man, you just got to keep pushing and you got to believe in what you're trying to do, and be patient, man. Patience is everything. Like, without patience, you probably go crazy, man.
everything happens for a reason. Like John said, it was like if you think about our first show was in a bingo hall in Seguin, Texas.
Oh, I forgot about the
You know what I'm
J-Dog
saying?
show.
Our last show was an outdoor spring fest. So like with the podcast, like you got to understand how our mind works. Like we had to get it out there. You know what I'm saying? We had to make it start happening. And then piece by piece, we're going to build on it. So each show is going to get better and better and better. So our mind is like, we're not satisfied. Like we see things like we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that. So like, it's just like, we just starting out. Like this is just a warm up. You know what I'm saying? These shows that we dropping right now, this is the warm up. Like we putting our heart into it with the content, but it's so much content that we got and we want to do. Like we're going to take it places that people ain't going to think we're going to go. You know what I'm saying? Like you think this is going to be sports and music and talking shit? No, like we're going to do stuff that's going to put people in position to learn something where, you know what I'm saying, it's going to help you out, maybe give you some inspiration, stuff like that. And we still going to talk sports, music, and we still going to talk our shit. But that other ish is the things that people ain't going to expect to come that's going to come. So just continue to stay tuned, man, and rock with us. You know what I'm saying? Support us, rock with us, and you'll see, like, as each episode comes, we're going to make it happen.
One thing, when I heard that you guys were going to have the podcast, I knew there was going to be, the level for success was through the roof because of the chemistry that you guys have, the experiences that you guys have, and just the intellectual level that you guys are on. I knew that those were all the keys for a successful podcast. And before we end it, y'all care if we talk some, get a little argument on some sports and music? All right, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I'm gonna give Vic, Puff Daddy, and I'm gonna give John JD. And I want y'all to give 30 seconds of your argument on who would win on a versus and why.
JD is in Jermaine Dupri?
That's right.
I'm gonna say Puffy because the problem is what people don't understand is Puffy has made so many different tracks for so many different producers. So these producers within his lineage has gone out and produced. So if you did a family tree of what Puffy has done and you source it down, you'll see how many people he's affected. And he had one of the greatest artists of all time.
He ain't gonna write this shit.
And Biggie.
So for me, as far as that go, I actually agree with Vic, but I will say this about JD. JD gonna go in the studio by himself. He gonna come out with that hit because he gonna rap. He did Bow Wow shit for years. He gonna have the killer ass beat. So I give him that. But Puffy definitely, because Puffy got all this other shit going on. His tree is phenomenal.
Let me end it on this one, Vic. Why is Scottie Pippen not a top 10 player of all time?
This is what
I had to do that at John. I was just going to say.
This is what I'm going to say. Because of Michael Jordan overshadowing Scottie Pippen, and then what really just hurt him now was this last episode they did where Scottie didn't want to go on the court, which is a knock against Scottie, but at the same time, I'm going to keep it playing. Like, if that's my homie, I'm not putting that in there. Like, I'm just sorry. Y'all got to take that. Y'all gonna have to find that. If that's me and John, I'm not putting that part in there. Y'all gonna have to find that on your own. And y'all gonna say Victor wasn't real about the podcast. I'm not gonna let him go. But Pippen is a top 10.
45 seconds left. Go ahead, John.
Hey, you know, MJ got to put it in there because he can't have him standing side by side with him on that. And I mean, it's a lot of good players out there, but man, there ain't a lot of players, and even in this game, that can do what Scottie did back then. It's just not.
And see, that right there, guys, is why y'all got to make sure to go over to sports, music, and other ish. You can get some of the best conversation you could hold for. They're going to talk about sports, music, and like they said, they got a lot in store. So, Vic, John, on behalf of you guys, thank you. It was an honor to interview you, and I look forward to, in the future, seeing where you guys take this.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So y'all